I want you to understand that it happened for you, not to you. I'm Coach Paris Simone. Welcome to my channel where I speak on all things mental, spiritual, and physical. And I really want to jump into this topic because, the victim mentality has to stop, especially if you want a successful, prosperous, and abundant future. And that can start right now. Have you ever had something happen to you in life and then you thought about it, or you look back on it and you thought, I would never be in this situation, I would never be in this circumstance if this would have never happened, I would never be going through this if so-and-so would have did their part? I certainly have, especially being a parent and parenthood alone. I don't know if you can relate. I'm going to give some other examples shortly after, but parenthood alone, I can honestly say I have been through some trials and tribulations in which I felt like, damn, if he would have stood up and did his responsibility, if he was playing his part, his role in this life that we created, I wouldn't have to give up my dreams. I wouldn't have to, quit my job because I don't know where I'm going to find a sitter. I wouldn't have to give up school after I already enrolled, started picking my classes. I wouldn't have to do this if such and such played their part, right? Have you ever felt like that? Or maybe you're not a parent. Maybe you look back on life and you think, if my parents were better or had more education in economics, I wouldn't be struggling with money management. I wouldn't be struggling with my credit. Maybe if I grew up in a stable life or with a stable lifestyle, I wouldn't be all over the place. I would be able to walk in my purpose more easily. If I had a father figure, maybe I wouldn't be struggling. Maybe I wouldn't have these daddy issues. I mean, the list can go on and on. There are all sorts of reasons that we can look back on life, on the past, and say, if things went this way, if things would have worked out this way, then I woulda, coulda, shoulda. I would be so much better. I could have these things. Then I would have done this. And I'm sorry to tell you, it's all bullshit. You have no idea that the person you are today is because of the things that happened for you. You would have never became more responsible. You would have never grown accountable. You would have never known snakes were in the garden. You would have never known your strengths unless you have gone through the things that you have gone through and overcome them. Guys, for a large portion of my life, being a single parent was hard as fuck. It was very difficult. Why? Because I decided it was going to be difficult. Because I chose for it to be difficult. Because I told myself it was going to be difficult. I knew during pregnancy that this guy was not taking the steps to show his support, to present his support in any type of way. And I did not have a good group of friends who had a healthy mindset who could encourage me to make the right moves. So I took a lot of inspired action based on the wrong advice. A lot of times I boosted my own head up. Nobody to blame here. But a lot of times I did a lot of things that were not me, and I wasn't proud of it because I continued to tell myself that this was my fault. This is happening to me. Why am I going through this? Lord, he asked me for this. He asked me for this baby. Now he's abandoned me. Now he's neglected me. Why is my life like this? This is the story. Listen, there's a hashtag that goes story of my life. SOML. I would use this hashtag all the time. Story of my life, SOML, SOML. But it doesn't have to be the story of my life, right? My life didn't have to be miserable. It didn't have to be hard. It didn't have to be challenging because I didn't have this individual to do it with. It didn't have to be hard because he chose to abandon his responsibilities. It didn't have to make my job, any less comforting, because I knew now that I had to go through this journey alone. And guys, that's a heavy burden to be carrying alone. And I didn't carry it alone. It definitely seeped down into the relationship that I had with my son for a good amount of years until I could figure out, one, I don't need this individual. Two, this is not my loss. Three, it's not the end of my story. Because this individual chose to make me a single mom, I learned so much responsibility. I learned accountability. I learned persistence. Even when I didn't feel good, even when it didn't look like it was coming, even when I couldn't believe it, I kept going. So many lessons came from this blessing of this situation happening for me. See, when that guy left me, I didn't know that God was already preparing me and my son for a bonus dad, a father figure to come into his life and love him unconditionally. When I realized during that time I had to give up going to college, that I couldn't be, this data analyst that I desired to be, I didn't know in between time, with all the lessons that I had to learn, that God was setting me up for entrepreneurship, to speak to people and do the things that I'm doing right now. I couldn't see that. And I wouldn't be here if I kept perpetuating that story. If I kept telling myself that I need this person, that I depend on this person, that my son won't be who he is today without a father figure. If I can't have the success or be successful in life because I don't have a two-parent home, I didn't have to tell myself this story, and my life did not have to go that way. I decided that all things always work out for my good. There are no accidents. There are no coincidences. Things are always working out for my good. Things always come together. Things always have a reason for happening. You have permission to tell yourself a new story. Tell yourself a new story. Listen, you don't have to be an addict because your parents were an addict. You don't have to be a player because your father struggled with staying committed and faithful to your mother. You don't have to keep going back and forth to jail. You don't have to be a puppet of this system. Look at Judge Mathis. This man went to prison for drugs, for trafficking, something of the sort. Now he's in a courtroom, raising a gavel, judging cases. So it doesn't have to be your story forever. You are meant to go through this. Go through these situations because it's happening for you, for your level up, for your growth. So go through them and pick the lessons. Realize the lessons that it is showing you. You need to learn. You need to elevate. You need to mature. Stop playing the fool in this game of life. You are meant to win. You have inherited wealth. Walk in it. Stop telling yourself you are meant to be poor. You were meant to be, a victim of the system. No, this does not have to be your story. Guys, I hope I was able to add some value, drop some gems in your life. I'm not sure who this message was for, but I felt called and compelled to deliver today. So here we are. If you are new to my channel, thank you. I hope I was able to, again, add some value to your life. Shine some light on a different perspective of looking at things the healthy way. If you are a current subscriber, thank you for giving me a moment in your day to come chop it up with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below some areas you may feel stuck or some areas in which you may have believed this thing prohibited me or inhibited me from moving forward or getting what I want or robbed me from my success story. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to help. Until next time, I'm out.